Oh my, hoody my. Welcome New Zealand to another fantastic episode. Actually, episode number 4, episode 4, down here at 40B Cavendish Drive. So welcome once again. I've got my trusty psychic here with Jono. Woo! Jono woo, everybody. Welcome, Jono.
Thank you.
And we're lucky enough and grateful to have a great friend of mine on the show today, which has a huge experience in all things automotive. Would you welcome to the automotive casting couch, Mr. Dwayne Carter, everybody.
Number 4 in Korean, by the way, is net.
There we go.
Net.
If anybody asks, we are totally a bilingual show. Go. Ichini-san, go in Japanese. Look at us go. Anybody else?
Japanese? No.
Ooh, it's cold. That came out early. So anyway, welcome to the show, D-Boy. It's great to have you on board. D-Boy is one of my great friends, and it's great to have him on. Let's cut straight to it. What did you bring us today?
I bought my old XW GT replica Falcon. Owned it for a few years. It's got a 460 big block in it, tunnel ram, and South Auckland loves it.
Yeah, it's definitely a very South car. I love it too. So for all of you at home, D-Boy comes from a prestigious motorsport family in the Carter's family. Son of Gary Carter and Robin Carter, and alias Carter's Tyres fame. So all things car, which is exciting. Did you know that, Johnny?
No, did not. Interesting fact.
Pre-show prep,
Supposed to
mate.
have done your homework, mate.
It's always important.
I'm useless with that.
Yeah, all it would have taken was a Google.
Yeah, but I did Google and it came up with the swimmer. Yeah.
Quite often it comes up with little Wayne too, because he's Dwayne Carter spelled exactly the same.
Oh, is he really?
He copied me. I'm older than him.
I don't, yeah, well, that's famous, mate.
Yeah.
Good,
Anyway.
good to know. So anyway, we're going to break this show down because D-Boy's quite a complex character with a lot of automotive stories. The car he's bought today, we're going to have a quick wrap through that. But the real car we're going to talk about today is DEFJAM, which is your Mitsubishi.
EVO6 Lancer. Would have loved to bring it today, but
Something
we had
happened,
some terminal issues.
Shall we put a video of that right here?
Bang.
Oh, look, I'm rolling sausages already. If anybody's been watching the previous episodes, I've got to stop doing this. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to hold the table.
It's a Matt from New Zealand thing.
It's a A1. So anyway, let's get into let's do the Falcon. Falcons are in the family, eh? Dad's got an affection for Falcons.
Yeah, Fords in general. We love Fords. Never allowed to. Only time I've been in a Holden was when I got arrested, and that was not by choice. So, yeah, no, we're definitely a Ford family.
Yeah, Ford family. Dad's got some XA GTs and other bits and pieces.
Yep. He's got a good collection of Fords and bits and pieces.
Yeah, we'll let Gary and Robin talk about that hopefully one day when we get them on the show.
Yep.
So the Falcon, So we're talking big block. You've done a few things since you've owned it.
Yeah, I've broken it, fixed it.
Right, might have been right outside my house.
Broken it, fixed it, rebuilt bits. But
For those of you that ever want to know, doesn't matter where I live. Probably between the hours of 10:30 and 11:30, if there's ever sustained loss of traction happening, very close to the vicinity of my house, my kids know not to get up, and I am pretty much the only one who looks now.
Wow,
because
the definite giveaway is your kids on the curb going, go harder, do it again.
I tried to unplay them, but yes, I tried to play them
And
down.
Sarah saying, get back into bed.
We love a good visit from D-Boy. It's awesome. Whenever he eats fine food in Somerville/Howick Meadowlands, we can always expect a visit. It's fantastic. It's totally awesome. So yeah, you broke it a few times. So you've done a bit. You've done enough to make it your own, eh?
Yeah, kind of. kind of. I've just it's nothing flash. It's nothing. It's not a show car. But you know, one day I'll when I get some time, I'll pull it apart and tidy it up. But yeah, it's driving at the moment. Does skid. So yeah.
Simmons deep dish.
Yep.
Custom offset 3-piece.
Yep. The 9-inch rear end, XD brakes, disc brakes all around. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, she looks tidy. The tonneau ram always looks good hanging out the bonnet. Interior's good.
Yeah.
So look, it's a showpiece to have a look at today, and we're going to play some footage of it, which is awesome. But really, the real nuts and bolts is talking about DEFJAM. It's for as long as I've known D-Boy, he's owned this car. I'm rolling sausages again.
Yep, you are.
Put the sausages down. I am thinking it's my... He's owned the car for as long as I've known him. And much longer than that. When did you pick up the Evo?
So I actually bought it off Brandon at By-Right Cars, just up the road here in 2002. So I was an apprentice. I maybe just come out of my time. My first big purchase, got a bank loan. I was in the market to buy a car, and I liked RX-7 Batmobiles, Evos, and Subarus, right? All my mates had Subaru STIs that would break down and shit, and I couldn't fit in the RX-7 properly. So I'm like, did my homework, and I wanted a car that you could drive hard that wouldn't break down, you know?
Yeah.
Because I like driving cars hard. And, yeah, so Evo ticked the boxes, so that's what I went for. And all my mates was constantly blowing up their Subarus, breaking shit, and I was just going fucking past them all day, every day.
It was yours to drive.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've had it, what are we talking, 22 years. So it's a legacy piece. So let's talk about the first mods, like, because, you know, early 2000s, you imagine the show scene. Everybody was doing different things to cars. You had some quite incredible shows. I'm trying to think of the names now right off the top of my head, but it escapes me. It's been a long day at 40 Big Cavendish Drive. So, like long story short, what were the first mods you did? Early 2000s, there was a lot going on in the car scene. It's called DEFJAM for a reason. Why is that?
There's a couple of reasons.
We want to hear them all. Yeah. And if they're really bad, they'll make the...
No, the number plate was a friend of mine's that just... he went overseas and popped up, and there was nothing really to it. I bought it. But, yeah, so the car started... the thing was, the car started stock standard. It even had a cap where the stereo is supposed to go. Like, it never had a stereo in it. It was just absolutely standard from Japan, you know, untouched. So I started f***ing around with it, and pretty much, long story short, just spent a whole lot of money on handling and went backwards. It was like getting worse and worse. I was going every weekend down snowboarding, you know, so I'd do some shit to the car and time myself to get down to Owakuni, and it's like, oh shit, it's no good, you know.
My time's
it was better when it was. So I decided I knew nothing about anything, and sort of went back to basics, and got my times back to Owakuni better. Got to the point where I could wear out a set of Falcon FK452s on one trip, a brand new set of tyres. There and back, they could be bald canvas with no skids. That's just driving. So
all
I was happy with that.
within the speed limits, of course. Yeah. Just good traction.
Yeah. So a set of tyres a trip, and I beat my mate in this 300 GDS Commodore, so I was happy with that down to Owakuni.
Oh, there's no need to talk like that, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, and then
nobody said you could swear on the show.
So it was a daily
just
driver
Dad likes
for a bit.
Fords doesn't mean you have to be abusive, bro. We were friends.
I'm actually used to this, Matt, talking over people. It happens all the time. I know him well. You want me to carry on, Matt?
If you could.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
So it was a daily driver for quite a while. Take the boys into town and whatever, just...
Hold it! Yeah! I mean, sorry. Oh, my bad. Sorry, where were we?
Yeah. So then the car sort of did bits and pieces to it, and then just went in the shed in about, maybe 12 years ago, and sat there until about 2 years ago. I decided to get it out and do some shit to it.
It had big sounds in it, eh?
It had real good sounds in it. It had 215 Soundstream 1100 RMS into each or something, and all that, and
It's so early 2000s to just load it up with weight and
oh,
just
I
have the
know,
best sound.
I know. And then you wonder why it's going slower,
Yeah.
But it's sounding cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. People are begging to get out, drop me at the bus stop,
Got a headache.
Yeah.
Hearing impaired.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's partly where the DEFJAM plate came from. A mate of mine who bought it off, he had it on his sound car and bits and pieces. So,
Migrated to yours.
yeah. And, yeah, that was it. And then...
And you didn't let him down.
No. Yeah, so sat in storage. Got it out recently in the last couple of years and spent a shitload of money on it.
So yeah, let's talk about that, because when you got it out, you decided to really get stuck into it, eh? So you've taken this thing for quite a walk. I think it's important for everybody at home to understand that when you go for big horsepower and all the rest of it, it is a walk, it is an adventure, and yours is somebody's doing a mean hack outside, eh? Mean. So yours is a good walk. Let's hear the story and the migration and where are we at now and why don't we see it today?
Okay, so I've been around race cars and motor racing all my life. I know what's involved in building reliable shit, and I thought about doing it myself. I could have done it myself, but it's just time and, you get shit apart. Next thing you know, years go by. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take it somewhere that can just do it, So I took it to SD High Tech and basically told them that this is what I want. I want 450 kilowatts, but I'm going to drive it hard. I said, I didn't query on price of parts. I said, I want this fucking thing to be driven hard. I'm going to drive it hard. It's a road car, not a race car, but I don't want it to break, So let's put the best shit in it. So they come up with a package, but it was a turbo, bigger turbo, a forged bottom end, cams, fuel pumps, all the shit, new ECU, like a full,
Like a Haltech or?
Page up for power.
So you link G4X,
Oh,
I think.
boo.
Yeah.
It's twice tonight.
So halfway through the build, this guy that was dealing with left. Someone else took over the build.
So there was a transition in the brains trust there.
Yeah.
During the
But
build.
that was the problem. The biggest breakdown was no one knew actually what this guy had spec'd.
Right.
And what he'd promised and blah, 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 So we got on the dyno with the setup and it got to 350 kilowatt and it was fucking detonating. Got it back, blew a head gasket, took it back, blew another head gasket. I rang Ian and told him what happened. He said, I'll pick it up tomorrow. I says, well, I'll go to work. I start at 5 a.m. He says, there'll be a tow truck there at 10 to 5.
Wow.
There was a tow truck there at 10 to 5 in the morning, put the car on the tow truck, So, I mean,
You can't
no fault of theirs.
But how's that for turnaround service? Who gets a tow truck at 10 to 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Very good.
The new guy that was there said, look, the turbo's too small. We're trying to wind it too hard. We need a bigger turbo. Okay, so we'll go bigger turbo. While the engine's out, we'll have a look at the engine. And it had been detonating on the dyno. One of the rods was buggered. Got all that sorted. Marsh Motorsport did all the bottom end. Put the bigger turbo on. Went electronic throttle body that time. Bigger intercooler, different cams. All the shit to make the power we wanted, right?
Reliable power.
Yeah. So, what I thought, yeah. So got on the dyno. Actually got to 460 something. And at the wheels, kilowatts.
It's a lot out of a
On
2 litre
ethanol.
motor, isn't it?
Yeah.
How's bells?
That's the thing. I let
And
the
that's
2
at a-
litre because
that's
I
at a
wanted to
4
rev.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the start, I wanted it to rev. So, yeah, did that and got the car back after another 12 months. In between times, I put a what do they call it? A sequential 5-speed Quaife gearbox
Oh,
behind it.
yeah. Awesome. How good is it shifting that bad boy?
Oh, yes. So it's real good. It's got gear cut on the, and now it's not done yet, but now I can do auto blip on the down change with the electronic throttle body.
Oh, awesome.
But so I just didn't want shit to break. I'm like, right, that's not going to break. Gearbox is good. Got a Evo RS rear end out of Aussie. LSD, got rid of the AYC rear end. So LSD front end, LSD rear end. All that was done, bulletproof. And big axles all round and all that shit. And then got it on the dyno with the new setup. made like 460 something. I was running quite a bit of boost, 40 something PSI of boost. So I said,
40 pounds. Push.
but no detonation.
Yeah.
We installed knock sensors and knock control, all that on the ECU. No detonation. So it was all good. It's got a flexi tune ethanol thing on the computer.
Right, so you've got
Pour
full
whatever you want
ethanol
in.
versus blend.
Yeah. Next day, my mate come up. He lives up north. He come down for the weekend or whatever.
Shout out to Noonan. How you going?
Oh, Noonan.
How you going, brother?
Being a show off, I was like, let's go for a drive in East Tamaki at about 4 in the afternoon. So we go to the back roads of East Tamaki, you know, gave it a bit of a pull. First, second, bang on the flat shift. As soon as I hooked third, it just went bang. And I was looking in the rear vision mirror and there was bits of cast iron that I knew was engine block.
Oh, no. Going atmospheric.
Flicking out the back and oils and water and like you couldn't see out the window. It was just like, you know, and I'm rolling along. My good mate Grant's like,
Blitz.
I think it's stuffed. And I look at him and I'm like, I fucking know it's stuffed. What happened was, what actually happened, a rod, either a gudgeon pin or a rod broke. The rod's that the original guy that wasn't at ST High Tech anymore. It's no fault of ST High Tech's. This guy left. Apparently, the rods are only spec to 400 kilowatt.
Yeah.
So, and we were pumping 450 plus, you know.
Right, so it was going to let go. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all in all, your actual experience with ST High Tech was positive?
the fabrication work and all that they done, and they were really good to deal with. It was just unfortunate that what happened, you know, like I understand how things go with cars and that. And so I needed a new block. So there was a few second-hand ones around. I was really getting low on money because I'd spent a shitload of money on this thing. And I'm like, you know, you can find something $1,500, second-hand Evo block somewhere that's, you don't know what's happened to it. It's been outside in the rain. I was like, no, f*** this. I'd rather just wait, slow down, wait. Start with a brand new block. So I started searching. I found one in Australia, a brand spanking new
a
EVO6
virgin block.
Yep, still with the Mitzi part number on it. So I bought that. I thought I'd better grab that before someone else does, and so I've got that ready to go. And going 2.2 litre this time, so that we don't have to wring the fucking boost out of it so much.
Yeah. So less revvy, more torquey.
Yep. And going Carrillo rods, Carrillo pistons, like the best Carrillo rods you can get, and big gudgeons and all that sort of shit. So it should be good for, definitely should be good for 450 kilowatts easy. Yeah.
So 450 kilowatts, I'm just going to use some mental athleticism here. 600 horsepower at the wheels?
Yeah, at the wheels, yeah.
At all four wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's asphalt ripping technology right there.
I just want to be able to sidestep the clutch and just do helicopters on the spot.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And it's got a triple plate 7.25 carbon clutch in it. All the, you know, so it should be not a problem.
Yeah. Oh, we look forward to seeing that come back together. The next evolution of DEFJAM. Wow, what a story. So anyway, let's go race car program.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to come from a flipping amazing family that have helped all of you support your dreams. So you did Amy race karts and stuff as well? Or was it just you and Matt, or how? What? Talk about the race program. Let's have a crack because there's some cool stuff here.
We grew up around when we were young, around Speedway, Western Springs, with my old man having cars there and bits and pieces. And then from the age of 6, started racing go-karts down at Mount Wellington Kart Club. Raced that, loved that. Used to work on my go-kart every night. I used to polish the paint off it. Got home from school, polish it, you know.
Best
had a
thing
lathe
ever.
at home, Dad, so I started making stuff for it, and bits and pieces. And so we did the go-kart thing, and then I was quite successful with that over the years. And then sort of when I started working, Dad said to me, you can carry on go-karting, but you have to pay the bills. You know, you got your go-karts, and I was just like, fuck, it's quite expensive. Like,
It's expensive, right, isn't
I
it?
think I was on $3.33 an hour when I started working as an apprentice. So had a bit of a break there for a bit.
That's 60 cents more than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Seemed to have more money back then, though. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Less responsibilities.
Yeah. So, yeah, didn't do much. I had a Nissan Sentra sort of after go-karts. There was a Nissan Sentra class back in the day. My brother mainly raced, and then I did a few enduros in it. And then one day just decided that we were going to go racing again and bought a AU V8 supercar off Brad Jones, an old Brad Jones car.
So you go from front-wheel drive Nissan Sentra to just like all of a sudden, let's get
And you sort of, I
Let's
turned
get
up,
it, let's
I
get a
turned up to
supercar.
Auckland Car Club Day with this car to run, and they're having the drivers briefing, and these guys are freaking out. They're like, this dude's in a V8 supercar, and they're trying to tell me, okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to pull over here when we come up behind you and blah, blah, blah. And a good mate of mine, Phil Sherbert, was there, and he stood up and put his arm around me and said, son, you just do whatever you want. And everyone seemed to listen to him.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I just did whatever I want.
Shot Phil.
Yeah. And so that was that. The first start I did on the grid, you know, standing start, and I'd watched it heaps on TV. You know, they're always on rev limiter. Ning, 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 and they dump the clutch, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've seen this shit. I'll just fucking
I'm going to see that.
till the floor. It's on limiter, right? Bum, 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 bum. Dump the clutch. Oh,
Can't see
it's
either.
not. There's more shit that goes on than that, you know. So you can actually be on rev limiter with about 15% throttle,
Yeah, right.
and it's still rev limiter 100%
But you're
throttle.
standing on it.
So, but you can't tell from listening to TV the difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was that.
So what?
Hit a car,
all-
tore the front off it.
Oh,
I tore the bump, didn't even know the bump had come off. I'm going down the straight and I'm thinking, whoa, this thing's a bit floaty because it's got no splitter on it. And that was the race. So, next race, got that sorted. Next race, rang up a mate of mine that races supercars. Hey, bro, what do you, like, when you're on rev limiter, you're on the floor? Oh, no, we're on about 15% throttle. There's a thing on the dash and there's a line lock switch on the button. And I'm like, oh, okay. And learned all that and I was away, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we endurance raced that car for quite a bit. My brother and I sold that, got a BA supercar, next sort of evolution up of was Fabian Coulthard's. We bought that off Paul Cruikshank Racing in Australia. Went over there and tested at Queensland Raceway, bought that back. Won a New Zealand endurance title with that car. Raced it campaigned that for probably 10 years. We still got that car.
So was that a Bathurst pole car?
No, the AU was the one
AU.
of history, yeah.
Right.
So this was not the last time it raced in V8 supercars competitively was with John Bell.
John Bell.
So John Bell was the last one to competitively race it in a V8 supercar race at Pukekohe, actually. Yeah. So we campaigned that, did quite successful. Ended up taking that car to Thailand and doing a series over there, which would have ended up winning if the floods didn't happen. We brought the car back early because there was big floods over there and we missed the last round. But yeah, that was a really good car. And then the endurance racing thing started getting bigger. People were starting to bring in GT3 cars to endurance race and stuff, and the old supercar just...
So the technology was getting hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it used to be about just race what you bring, all sorts of hot rods, and we actually put a 6-litre motor in that supercar, bigger tyres, handmade the rear quarters to take the bigger tyres, and actually won the first endurance race at Highlands Motorsport Park with SVG as my co-driver in that car.
SVG, who's he?
Oh, just some dude.
Fail. We all know a bit of Shane Van Gisbergen, don't we? He's the hottest ticket on TV at the moment.
Yeah.
Boy, and there's a bunch of Kiwis, don't we just love that fella? How nice to have an experience with him.
Yeah, so that was 2010 or something, about 2010, I think. It's when Highlands, the first year it opened. So Shane was come from supercars. He hopped in this thing, which was an older car than what he was used to, but it had a 6-litre and it had big tyres and good tyres. And he was just like, yeah, this is cool, you know? I've got photos of it two-wheeling, like gripped up and everywhere. And we're actually going to race the next day in the big 101 race with the GT cars from Aussie. and we would have started P5 out of all that exotic.
Wow.
But we finished and won our endurance race on the Saturday, but broke the diff and then and doing that and couldn't race.
Had the wheels driven off of it.
Yeah.
So let's talk, Shane, because you're a great wheelman. I know, because I've been in the car with him. Man can drive. Flipping scary. Scary.
Oh, I could imagine.
Yeah, it's no Volkswagen. Scary. Very scary. When you're talking, sharing a drive with Shane, how much faster was he? And
so obviously faster.
yeah, of course, but because but he's almost like this mythical creature where you can put him in anything, whether it be a drift car, a rally car, an Indy car, whatever.
I definitely, you don't feel bad about being slower than Shane.
No, I guess I'm not saying feel bad. What I'm saying is, because I know that you're a great driver and that you're the fastest one that sits in the cockpit of the cars that you guys have. I know that. But he just jumps in one and is faster.
Yeah, of course.
He's ridiculous.
I mean, any professional would do that, but not to his extent. But any pro V8 supercar driver would be faster than me. I'm just a weekend warrior.
I'm not sure about that.
Sort of thing.
He's underplaying it now.
So, yeah. So anyway,
he's stubborn.
Shane was
And he drives quite fast, even though it's 4.
At the start about a second a lap, maybe quicker, and then he helps me with his data and looks at bits and pieces and got a bit closer.
Yeah, awesome.
But
and what a neat experience to have though, racing with what is turned out to be the most pedigree flipping race car driver we've pumped out.
But the shit he does and tells you to do, it's just like, what the f***?
Where did you think that?
To the point where we did a lap in a van the night before, and we'd stop at the corner coming onto the straight at Highlands, and he goes, "Get out!" And we hop out, and we go into the inside of the track. And there's a wall on the outside. It's don't know if you know it, but it's a right hand, quite a fast sweeper, and he goes to the inside. He's on the grass and he's pointing down. And he says, "See that there? There's a track, the curb, and then there's a drop off about that high, and then there's the grass. Is put your right front, drop it off, and hook it back into the curb, and just fucking pin it around this corner
like a slot car."
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, fucking," he's joking.
Yeah,
but he wasn't joking. And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Just hook it back in there, and you can just keep it flat around here." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So went back to the pits and had a look at the car after he'd been practicing that day and look at the right front wheel on the inside, and she was nearly he'd definitely been doing it.
Yeah.
But stuff like that people just, you wouldn't even think about.
He's looking at every piece of the track for a possible advantage.
And data, he's pedantic and he's so good at it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What an experience.
And then just last year, got to drive them again in our BT62 Brabham in the 6 hour at Highlands, which was a interesting, controversial race. Yeah. So
you've ripped the scab off it. Why was it controversial?
So they made us every car fit Motec BOP unit, which is a balance of parity that the control get live data from, right? And they can see every car, throttle positions, everything that you can download off the ECU they can see. So we had started practice on Thursday, and they would keep coming down and they'd be saying, "Are you going as fast as you can?" I'll go back a bit. They said to us the car weighs 980 kilos, right? Full of gas. It's been designed to weigh that much. It's light, it's fast. It's 5.4 Coyote V8 based rear engine. So they said, "You're going to have to weigh 1150 kilos." So from 9.8, it's nearly a quarter of a ton of lead we had to all of a sudden put in this car.
Jeez. It's a lot of raiding tyre shops for this lead bin, isn't it? For the dive shop. What do you do there? Where do you find this stuff?
So sorry, the last race of the South Island Endurance Series, they told us this. So we had time. So we decided, we'll give it a go. We got some sheet cut the right size, lead sheet, and made boxes to put under the seats, under the driver's seat, and one on the passenger side. And did it like that, but then the car just handled like a bucket of shit. Like it was just fucking...
So that 50-50 balance is all
gone. And it just felt like your third gear used to put you back in your seat, and it's just like something's wrong, So the guy that actually built the car, Paul Sepinich from Australia, who is the guy that builds the supercar chassis, very clever man, rang him up and said, "Hey mate, this is what's happening. We're going to run this race. They want us to put all this lead in it." He was making it. He was licensed to build these cars for Brabham. So Paul came over. They sussed it out. We got this thing running on with the weight, changed the suspension, all that sort of shit, and made it kind of competitive as a GT3 car that we're racing against. And then qualifying, so that was all good. Qualifying came. We're about 4th fastest. Shane was just getting a bit better, looking at data, working with the engineers. So qualifying came on the Saturday morning, and they said, "We're probably going to cut your throttle to 80% because we think you guys are sandbagging, like you're not going." And that was
Even though they've got a full system that's showing them the full limit of
throttle,
the car.
everything. And but they were just like, no, it's like you guys. And Shane wasn't sandbagging. I obviously wasn't sandbagging. I never am.
It's not in your
And
genes.
I think we're only about half a second apart in the Brabham, you know. Maybe that's why they thought he was sandbagging. But long story short, we said, "Oh, stuff it. We're not going to race, you know. Stick it up your ass." And they rang us on the Saturday night and said, "Look, we'll let you have the throttle, blah blah blah, but we have to, at our discretion, we may want to change it during the race."
In other words, if you start winning,
Yeah. So we were fourth.
politics, it's sounding more like Shortland Street, not like flipping Enduro series.
Yeah. So we were actually going, wow, we still actually could have won that race. We ended up 4th overall. But in Shane's last stint that he went to hop in the car to take it to the end, which was about maybe 2 hours, they come down and said at that pit stop, "Plug it in, we're cutting you back to 80%. So we had 250 kilos of lead almost and 80% throttle. And then we didn't put tyres. We tried to run a long stint on the tyres, and Shane just blew the tyres off it in the end. But like he was battling, he was up 20 minutes to go. We could have won the race. And then the tyres just blew off it. But yeah.
But obviously before the Brabham, there was 2 Mercedes.
Yep.
There was the last of the original Gull Wings.
Yep, the SLS and then a GT after that.
Yeah, and what are your feels between the AMG program and the Brabham program? Are they comparative? Are they chalk and cheese? Are they night and day? How does it work?
So we should never have sold the GT Mercedes because
That was the last one, not the Gull Wing, right? I personally don't think you should have sold the Gull Wing. It was the
we
last
haven't.
stop.
We've still got it. I restored that back to.
Yes.
It's absolutely immaculate.
Is
that
it?
car.
Ah, amazing. That's my favourite.
But we sold the GT to help finance to buy the Brabham. So, and then they pretty much banned us from running that Brabham. Now it's kind of just going to go in the garage and the old man's garage.
You can't run it at
endurance races.
Endurance in
No.
New Zealand.
No,
How does that work? Why not?
they just changed the rules.
Just to suit themselves.
It's just all the shit about Schedule A, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end it says also excludes Brabham BT62. So like overseas, you can understand the way the way of thinking was GT3 worldwide is a category that's controlled. The cars are all the same speed, all the different brands.
Yeah.
So they've been trying to go that way in New Zealand. But in New Zealand, we can unrestrict them, right? So the likes of an Audi or especially a turbocharged car like a McLaren or whatever, you take the restrictors out, which they've been put in overseas to bring them back to their BOP limit. And the things are totally different cars. So the whole GT3 thing goes out the window at that point because they're not actually GT3s.
No, they're
They've been hot
unrestricted.
rodded.
Yeah.
Like there's a McLaren that's got 950 horsepower on a button if he needs it. And a standard GT3 car in Europe and that, no matter what it is about 550 horsepower.
Right.
Right? So
you're talking double the ponies.
yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, unless they wanted to keep it GT3 homologation like Europe, which is a big thing, you have...
Well, it's either one or the other, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
either unrestricted or it's restricted.
Yeah. And like the Mercedes we had, so unrestricted, we took the restrictors out of that and it was about 50 horsepower more. We took it up to about 600. But, yeah, if you've got a turbo car or an Audi goes really well unrestricted. Or so you got a turbo McLaren, a GDR, GT3, Nissan or whatever, they can crank them right up.
Send it to the moon.
Yeah. So they were like, we need something to compete with this. So we asked if we could run this car. They said yes. Bought it. And the thing never actually lasted more than an hour. We ran it for 2 years. It was so unreliable. Like you know, endurance racing's about reliability, and the GT3 cars are built to race 24-hour Le Mans. They're built to go 24 hours non-stop, which they do, you know, if you maintain them like the Mercedes did, they're reliable as. So here we were, so our disadvantage was reliability. Our advantage was when they didn't restrict us, it was flipping fast, like so fast. But, you know, you've got to get to the end of the race. It's all sort of even.
Could be quick as if you don't
that's
finish.
right, which it did. It didn't finish until we done a lot of work on it and sorted through the problems and stuff. But yeah.
So now you call it a museum piece. What happens? I mean, a garage piece. Like, is the family going to track it? What are you going to do with it?
So we may do.
What happens to the race program? Even is that dissolved? Where do you go?
So the company Brabham, Australian company, that were licensed from Brabham to use their name and build this car, which a good friend of mine built, Pace Innovations in Australia. They would plan to build 72 cars because that's the number of Grand Prix Jack Brabham won, I think.
Right.
Something like that, don't quote me on it. And they got to 7 and the company went into liquidation, right? They went tits up. So that's now one of 7 Brabham BT62s ever built.
Yeah, okay. I'll put it in the garage.
So there is things we can race it in, sprint racing like GD1 and bits and pieces where it's just no.
But you probably wouldn't, if there's only 7.
I would.
Actually, I'm sorry. D-Boy would. Yeah,
So
100%.
we probably will run it a couple more times. It's down in Highlands. Mum and Dad basically live down there in Cromwell.
Nice.
So there'll be a couple of sort of meetings we can run it in down there, sprint meetings and bits and pieces, but you definitely don't want to crash it.
Nah, one of 7. I didn't realise that's as far as they got. How good.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll another sausage about that one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, look, it's D-Boy's Yard. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I think, once again, we've put together another fantastic piece of Kiwiana for you to listen to at home, hopefully. Jono, once again, has been inspired.
Jono said "f all the whole time.
I know, it's probably his worst show ever, to be fair.
Oh, thanks.
And but that's why he's here. He's the he's my side piece.
Side piece.
But I always like to finish the show by saying thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. It's important to us to tell the story of motor vehicles and the people that own them here. And as you can see by just the 4 shows that we've had so far, the variation is wide. The content's quite, like, we have to squash it in and fit it into a small period of time, but there's so much of it because cars mean so much to New Zealanders, right? And they're an integral part of our lives, and it's always great to hear those stories. But, you know, thanks for tuning in. What I'd like to do is ask Jono to see if he's got any better on last week. Well, first of all, sorry, D-Boy, thanks for coming in, bro. We appreciate having you on.
My pleasure, mate.
Mate, and we can't wait for round 2, where we get to see DEFJAM doing a heli in my cuppa.
Yeah. And me in the front seat. Woo!
Yeah, that'll happen.
Hopefully.
Life goals, bro.
Life goals, Jono in the front seat.
On my bucket list.
Yeah, but thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks for helping us create content, because without you turning up, you know, we wouldn't have a show. We're actually, for all of you out there that want to be on the show, we're pretty much booked out till the end of September with people coming along. But if you know anybody
You have
out
to be
there,
special.
you do. Yeah. Get the invite, the golden ticket, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, you know, or Nutella, whatever. But, you know, like, long story short, if you know anybody out there that's got a great story that you think we should help tell, feel free to email us at whatsonthehoist@gmail.com with any tips or leads, and we'll be happy to entertain those. Can't guarantee everyone's going to get on here straight away, because we haven't even tried, and it's just filling up. We appreciate all of you watching, and it's so Kiwi.
And make sure you subscribe, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
Yes.
boom. Jono, I'd like, can you thank the sponsors?
Megan Turbo, Manukau. This time. First time.
So you know how to say a business's name?
Oh, 40B Cavendish Drive.
Cool.
Manukau.
Yeah, thanks very much for creating all of this wonderful,
Yes.
auspicious show. Jono, would you like to thank the sponsors?
Mag and Turbo
No,
Manukau.
let's start with a big thanks to Mag and Turbo Manukau. Come on. Right, Jono, don't Google.
I'm not
Right,
Googling. I'm just turning my phone on mute because it just decided to ring.
Yeah, tell him. Jono, can you thank the sponsors?
Well, big thank you to Mag and Turbo Manukau, 40B Cavendish Drive, Slam City, baby.
Slam City.
Slam City.